Hello, everyone. I'm Asha Cooper. Thank you for having me. Today, there is a clear national imperative to strengthen and transform post-secondary education to meet the changing needs of today's students and tomorrow's workforce. This will require smarter, more intentional investments that not only expand access, but guarantee affordability, completion, and strong outcomes, especially for those historically underserved by our systems. We must open the doors to higher education wider than ever before and ensure that the credentials students earn truly lead to opportunity. For me and the Lumina Foundation, our focus hasn't changed. We're doubling down on the opportunity and promise of increased post-secondary attainment. At Lumina, we understand that certificates and degrees matter. But those credentials don't matter if students can't see a future for themselves. Real progress will depend on deep collaboration with states, where policies are shaped, funding decisions are made, and student success takes roots. Together with state leaders, we're working to align systems, incentives, and support so that every learner has a clear, affordable path to a credential of value. That's why our new post-secondary attainment goal 2040, ensuring that 75% of working adults hold a credential of value, is not just a policy commitment, it's a moral one. It's about ensuring that today's students earn certificates and degrees that lead to good jobs and good lives, and are about restoring the promise that higher education fuels economic mobility, civic participation, and personal well-being. To accomplish this, we're helping states set clear attainment goals for a thriving economy that supports opportunity and mobility. That means understanding what defines value and aligning credentials to it. Rethinking affordability from the student perspective, where food, housing, and childcare weigh as heavily as tuition. And elevating conversations about short-term credentials to ensure they lead to real advancement. Now, you've heard throughout this series about the varied evolution of post-secondary finance policy over the last 15 years, but what's changing in state funding today? And where is the momentum? We're tracking movement across a couple of key areas: affordability and access, student success, workforce alignment, and credentials of value. As states reimagine how they fund higher education, we see growing momentum around smarter, more intentional investments designed to align systems with student success, workforce demand, access, and opportunity. In the area of affordability and access, states are expanding tuition-free and last dollar programs that cover tuition and fees for low and middle income students. These promise programs often include clear eligibility and rules to help students stay on track. At the same time, new need-based scholarships are emerging. Flexible awards that can be used at community colleges or universities and combined with Pell Grants to reduce the net price for in-state students. Recognizing that affordability extends beyond tuition, many states are now funding basic needs support, such as student success centers, emergency aid, transportation, and childcare. These investments acknowledge that completion depends as much on stability as on tuition. And as the federal FAFSA process undergoes major changes, states have responded by extending deadlines, simplifying aid forms, and ramping up FAFSA completion campaigns to ensure that available aid actually reaches students. When it comes to student success, funding models are increasingly designed to reward outcomes. States are updating community college performance formulas to emphasize credentials of value, successful credit momentum and transfer, and completions among Pell eligible and adult learners, often with weights that account for different starting points. States are also scaling completion in re-enrollment grants or small targeted micro grants that help students overcome financial barriers and finish their degrees. Meanwhile, more funding is being tied to the use of evidence-based practices such as proactive advising, degree maps, and early alert systems to ensure students stay on course. In terms of workforce alignment, states are connecting education more directly to labor market demand. Many are publishing lists listing out the credentials of value in their state that are aligned with regional workforce needs and transparent wage outcomes. This approach ensures public dollars steer students toward programs with proven returns. Funding streams now support high-quality short-term certificates, apprenticeships, and work-based learning models in fields like advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and information technology. States are also expanding pathways for adult learners by recognizing prior learning, military training, and existing skills, allowing experienced workers to upskill efficiently without starting from scratch. At Lumina, we've launched Future Ready States to support 12 states in aligning education and workforce systems to identify, improve, and scale credentials of value, helping more adults gain meaningful opportunities in a fast-changing economy. Finally, quality and opportunity run through every aspect of these funding reforms. The shift is not simply about investing more money, it's about investing money wisely. States are prioritizing incentives for programs and credentials that demonstrate value, have added weights that reward institutions for closing achievement gaps, and are transparent in helping students compare outcomes by program. Above all, this new funding approach is pragmatically student-centered. It directs dollars toward advising, childcare, transportation, and emergency aid, resources that keep students enrolled, progressing, and ultimately succeeding. At Lumina, we're also looking inward at higher education itself and asking the hard questions alongside state and institutional leaders. How can we redesign institutions to meet students where they are? How do we replace outdated policies that block opportunity? How do we create environments that support, not suppress, the full humanity of every learner, while also embracing emerging technologies, innovations, and credential programs? This isn't easy work, but it is necessary, and it's already underway. States are rewriting funding to prioritize access, success, value, and completion. Institutions are aligning programs with the economy students are entering, not the one they once remember. And partners across sectors are coming together to make affordability real for students and families across the country. I see hope in the work we're investing in, and in the work many states, systems, and institutions are already doing. Together, we can ensure that by 2040, 75% of working adults hold a credential of value, and that those credentials open doors to good jobs, strong economies, and fuller lives.